Number 10. Yen Sid. The Sorcerer's Apprentice is one of Disney's most popular animated adventures and musical films, the third and most famous segment in Disney's Fantasia, that also went on to be the only returning segment in its sequel, Fantasia 2000. With Mickey Mouse one of Disney's most popular and famous characters, the film had Disney fanatics begging for more. The main plot revolves around a sorcerer by the name of Yen Sid, who spends all day working assiduously to perfect his magic, while Mickey Mouse, his apprentice, does the chores. But after a long day of practice, the sorcerer finally puts down his magic hat and retires to his chambers to rest. Mickey, being very inquisitive, picks up the hat, puts it on, and tries the magic on a broom. Mickey had ordered the broom to carry buckets of water to fill a cauldron for him. Mickey eventually fell asleep, only to wake and find the room flooded. The cauldron was overflowing and the broom filling more and more buckets of water. Mickey tried his best to stop the brooms, but to no avail. He then grabs an axe and chops the broom into pieces, but suddenly, the small pieces of broom started forming more brooms and carrying more buckets. Mickey's magic had finished. Luckily for Mickey, Yen Sid enters the room, waves his hand, and all the brooms stopped. Mickey, holding his head down in shame, returns Yen Sid's hat and starts to clean up his mess. The sorcerer then smacks Mickey from behind, and Mickey runs away. Many people say that Mickey's role was for Dopey, the youngest of the seven dwarves in Disney's 1937 film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The Sorcerer's Apprentice was one of the first cartoons to be broadcast on Toon Disney when it premiered. But wait, did you realize that right in front of your eyes, the sorcerer's name, Yen Sid, is Disney spelled backwards? Number 9. All Men Eat Boogers. Frozen, a Disney 2013 3D computer-animated musical fantasy film, produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and released by Walt Disney Pictures, was a Disney all-time success and worldwide box office winner, ranking as the highest gross animated film of all time. As the 53rd animated feature in the Walt Disney Animated Classics collection, Frozen tells the story of a fearless princess who sets off on an epic journey, alongside a rugged Iceman named Kristoff, his loyal pet reindeer, and a naive snowman, all in search of her estranged sister, whose icy powers have inadvertently trapped the kingdom in eternal winter. By 2015, Frozen was an all-time bestseller, winning 2 Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song, Let It Go. Frozen, like all other Disney screenplays, underwent several criticisms and checks for more years, before being accepted in 2011. The story of Frozen is just heart-melting, filled with pure feeling and emotions, as one of the best Disney movies of the decade. The film hits right on the mark with an action-packed adventure and thrilling journey, giving this tale a little bit of everything in the exact right amounts. It is a daring animation, causing fans to laugh out loud in some instances, all achieved in balance, a true triumph in storytelling that proves exactly what Disney does best, again and again, proving that they are the best at producing top-quality films. However, towards the end of the film, a twist in the credits by Disney reads, "The views and opinions expressed by Kristoff in the film that all men eat their own boogers are solely his own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company of filmmakers." Number 8. Garbage Man Sid. No doubt, Toy Story, another epic Disney animation, has created a universe in the heads of many of its audiences. The heroes are toys which come to life when nobody is watching. The main conflict is between an old-fashioned cowboy who has always been a little boy's favorite toy, and the new Space Ranger who has come to replace him. The villain of this feature, Sid, that mean kid next door, takes toys apart and puts them back together again, in macabre combinations. This young and disturbed 11-year-old metal-braced kid enjoys terrorizing his little sister, Hannah, by taking her toys away and using them in scary experiments like switching their limbs and even operating on them. He literally destroys any toy he gets his hands on. Sid Phillips is the main antagonist in Pixar's 1995 animated feature. He's actually the only human who knows the toys are alive. But villains are punished most often, and in Toy Story 3, Sid was secretly punished by Disney and placed to work as a garbage man. He was punished to work 300 hours with the city's Metropolitan Sanitation Department for his heartless and cruel nature towards his neighbors. But despite his fierce and grim character, it is clear he has a soft side, hinted in his frequent dreams about ponies. Number 7. Mickey and Minnie. Mickey Mouse, a Walt Disney funny animated cartoon character and the official mascot of the Walt Disney Company, was created at the Walt Disney Studios in 1928. An anthropomorphic mouse who typically wears red shorts, large yellow shoes, and white gloves, Mickey has become one of the most recognizable cartoon characters to adults and children all over the world. Mickey made his first official debut in the short film Steamboat Willie in 1928, one of the first sound characters ever to be produced during that time. He then went on to appear in over 130 films, including The Band Concert in 1935, Brave Little Tailor in 1938, and Fantasia in 1940. Mickey appeared primarily in short films, but also occasionally longer ones. Just imagine, 10 of Mickey's cartoons were all nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film, one of which, Lend a Paw, won the award in 1942. They say behind every good man there's a good woman, and they were indeed right. All of Mickey's fame could not have been possible without his girlfriend Minnie, who stood by his side through thick and thin. The names Mickey and Minnie grow year by year, along with his pet dog Pluto and his good buddies Donald Duck and Goofy. The hidden voices of Mickey and Minnie Mouse were actually the voices of Wayne Allwine and Russi Taylor, a happily married couple from Los Angeles, California. They were both nominated and named Disney Legends in 2008. Unfortunately, Wayne passed away in 2009 due to severe complications caused by diabetes. Number 6. The Old Heretic. Aladdin is a 1992 musical fantasy film produced by Walt Disney and released by Walt Disney Pictures. In this adventurous plot, Jafar Grand Vizier, the Sultan of the fictional Sultanate of Agrabah, attempts to retrieve a magical oil lamp containing a genie from the Cave of Wonders, dressed as a petty thief, but oops, his plan fails. Meanwhile, Jasmine, the Sultan's daughter, frustrated with her life in the palace, flees to Agrabah's marketplace. There, she meets street rat Aladdin and his monkey pet Abu, and the two begin to form a friendship. Jafar then captures Aladdin. Jasmine orders his release, but Jafar tricks her into thinking Aladdin was sentenced to death. Disguised as an elderly man, Jafar releases Aladdin and Abu from the dungeon and leads them to the Cave of Wonders, promising them a reward in return for retrieving the lamp. Voiced by Jonathan Freeman, Jafar has appeared in many Disney classics. An inspiration to the character is the villain Jafar, played by Conrad Veidt in The Thief of Baghdad, from which Aladdin borrows several character ideas and plot elements. Hidden in another greatest Disney classic of all time, Jafar appears in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, disguised as an old heretic. Number 5. Recycled animations. Most children, and even adults, like to watch Disney movies. Disney movies often portray characters overcoming difficulties, going on adventures, finding love, and finding out what is important to them. As children get older and they watch their favorite childhood movies, they might notice a few things that they didn't realize when they were younger. But truth be told, the folks at Disney had a frugal animation hack even long before anyone ever knew or realized that this hack existed. Well, to save time at the drawing board, the staff and animators often reuse old content. Surprisingly, the Walt Disney Company were recycling the same scenes and motions throughout classic films like Snow White, Robin Hood, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, and many more. Disney animators frequently recycled footage from older animated classics and created new films. These Disney professionals would draw over existing animation cells, creating new scenes with characters with similar designs, characteristics, and movements. This method was known as rotoscoping. This technique helped Disney to save time and billions of dollars for many years. Did you know about this? I'm guessing not. When we were kids, we were way too busy looking at colors, scenery, and our favorite characters. Number 4. Wally. The story of Wally involves a robot named Wally, who's designed to clean up an abandoned, waste-covered Earth far in the future. But he falls in love with another robot named Eve, who also had a programmed task and follows her into outer space, on an adventure that changes the destiny of both his kind and humanity. Both robots exhibit an appearance of free will and emotions, similar to humans, which develop further as the film progresses. Wally has minimal dialogue in its early sequences. Many of the characters do not have voices, but instead communicate with body language and robotic sounds. This Pixar film, only in its first week of release, made over $70 million, creating long lines in more than 400,000 theaters and ranking #1 at the box office. The film is seen as a critique on larger societal issues. It addresses nostalgia, environmental problems, waste management, human impact on the environment, and risks to human civilization on planet Earth. But I bet you never knew that Wally was named after American entrepreneur, cartoonist, animator, voice actor, and film producer Walter Elias Disney. He was a prominent figure within the American animation industry and throughout the world. He's also regarded as a cultural icon, known for his influence and contributions to entertainment during the 20th century. Number 3. Tarzan. Tarzan is one of Disney's most revered animated movies, created by the Walt Disney Company in 1999. This musical adventure screenplay, although on a tight budget, got positive reaction from critics, who praised the film's animation and musical creativity. The main events of the film are adventure and comedy, giving its audience lots to smile about. Tarzan is easily one of Disney's greatest fiction classics of the 20th century. The main character is Tarzan, a man raised by gorillas who finds out he is truly human. Created before Disney picked up the character by Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan marries Jane, Professor Porter's daughter. Professor Porter is an accomplished scientist with years of expertise studying gorillas, though prior to arriving in Africa, he had never seen one in the wild. Sometimes the kind-hearted professor gets so absorbed in his thinking that he simply forgets what he's doing. Hidden from Disney fans in a scene where gorillas pick up Professor Porter and turn him upside down, a small plushie of Little Brother from Mulan falls out of his pocket. Was this professor a toy fanatic or just a huge fan of the movie? Also, a China tea set from Beauty and the Beast makes an elegant appearance in the film. Number 2. The Jungle Book Vultures. The Jungle Book is an animated movie that has been enjoyed by adults as well as children, with that depth of meaning and symbolism that goes far beyond the surface. This was the 19th feature in the Walt Disney Animated Classics series and also was released on October 18, 1967, to great positive reception. The film went on to make over $73 million in the United States, just in its first release, and as much again from 2 re-releases. The plot follows Mowgli, a child raised in the Indian jungle by wolves, as his friends Bagheera the panther and Baloo the bear try to convince him into leaving the jungle, before the evil tiger Shere Khan arrives. One night, when the wolf tribe learned that Shere Khan, a man-eating Bengal tiger, had returned to the jungle, they realized that Mowgli must be taken to the man village for his own safety. But then, a group of monkeys kidnapped Mowgli and took him to their leader, King Louie the orangutan. Mowgli managed to escape, but as a storm gathers, a depressed Mowgli encounters a group of friendly vultures, 4 of them who accepted Mowgli as a fellow outcast. Shere Khan appears shortly after, scaring off the vultures and confronting Mowgli. But hidden from the Disney audience, the 4 vultures in the Jungle Book were based on and were intended to be voiced by the Beatles. But due to contract disagreements, this did not materialize. Number 1. Secret Scar. It took Disney a really long time to actually get to the gods of Greek mythology, but for sure, Hercules has made it into Disney's top 10 animated feature films of all time. As with most, and if not all Disney films, the main protagonist, Hercules, is witty, sarcastic, and enjoyable. The jokes are for the teens, and the entertainment value is for the little ones as well. The story started after imprisoning the Titans beneath the ocean. The Greek gods gathered on Mount Olympus with Zeus and his wife Hera, in anticipation of the birth of their son Hercules. While the other gods are joyful, Zeus's jealous brother Hades plots to overthrow Zeus and rule Mount Olympus. Hades then learns that in 18 years, a planetary alignment will free the Titans and allow them to conquer Olympus. But only if Hercules does not interfere. Hades sends killer assassins to dispose of Hercules. The assassins succeeded at kidnapping and feeding him to a formula that turns him mortal, but fail to remove his superhuman strength. Years later, the teenage Hercules becomes an outcast due to his strength and begins wandering the earth for answers where he came from. Confused and frustrated, Hercules decides to visit the Temple of Zeus for answers. In a furious act and hidden from Disney audiences, a fur coat of Scar is thrown on the ground by Hercules. Clearly, Scar might have been one of the lions killed by Hercules during his quest for Mount Zeus, and he was wearing it as a trophy. Remember the Lion King? Well, Scar was Simba's convincing uncle and jealous brother of Mufasa, king of the throne.